All right, now the Gauteng Housing Crisis Committee has expressed shock following the deaths of numerous persons in a fire in Marshalltown, Johannesburg. The committee says the incident could have been avoided if the authorities in both provinces, or rather province and the city, had paid greater attention to housing. To unpack this further, I'm joined by a coordinator of the Gauteng Housing Crisis Committee, Thami Hukwe. Thank you very much, Mr. Hukwe, for joining us here on eNCA. What do you make of this argument that different government officials have been, alluding to, which is an act from 1998 that talks about illegal eviction, right? They keep going on that, and some of them alluding to that needing to change. But clearly this crisis is more about the housing deficit in the city of Johannesburg.
Yes, no, that's true. I agree with you. The problem is really an inability, not in fact an inability, but a failure from the government to deliver on the basis of the promises that they've made during their election campaign, to deliver decent housing and land, especially to the black working class communities and the poor. And with regards to the city, I think they are much more preoccupied and obsessed with power struggles game amongst themselves, rather than delivering services to the poor and the black majority in the city. I think that's amongst the problems that have caused these problems. But also it relates to the policy options of the national government with regards to the question of land and also their economic promises, policies. They have chosen to submit our country to the structural adjustment policies of the IMF and World Bank that demands that our government must spend less on social expenditure, like spending on building houses for the poor and the working class, spending on delivering services like health and education to the poor and the black working class. So their choice to submit our government economic policy to the structural adjustment programs are also responsible for this kind of a problem that we are experiencing. And the issue of land again, where they have chosen in 1994 to legalize the theft of land by guaranteeing the private property law in the Constitution, which makes it difficult for them to deliver the land to the landless people that were dispossessed.
So basically they're renting out their responsibility to everything else around them except for them. And I mean, if you look at it in the city of Johannesburg, at least, we can no longer even blame one political party. It's almost all of them.
Exactly. All of them are just jostling amongst themselves for the meaningless political power, and they have they do not pay any attention at all. They've taken their eyes off from what they're supposed to be doing, because when they came for their election campaign, they made promises to the citizens of the city, and amongst the promises that they made was the rapid land release program and the mega housing development projects. And we are not seeing any movement with regards to those promises that they have made. A point in case is a Southern Farms mega housing development project that they have promised in 2016 to the resident of Freedom Park, Dorado Park, and other areas in the Johannesburg South. I think there's no political commitment at all from them to deliver services or even decent housing or decent jobs to the poor and the working class communities.
Yeah, and even if you look at their argument about this act, the Eviction Act, Land Eviction or Illegal Eviction Act of 1998, even their argument is a bit flawed, because if you've been in government since 1994 and this is an act that came into effect in 1998, at the end of the day, you are part of the lawmaking of this country, and it will be implemented even against you.
No, that's for sure. I mean, the Act says that when they are evicting or want to evict, they should be in a position to provide an alternative accommodation to those that are to be evicted. But they have not been doing that. And that has been the contestation in the courts, that you can't evict people without offering an alternative accommodation. And even this question of theirs, of calling every initiative that has been taken by the poor and the black working class in trying to live, calling it illegal. When we occupy land because we want to have houses, they say it's illegal act. When we occupy the unoccupied buildings because we want to have housing, they call it illegal. When we connect ourselves electricity because we don't have money, they call it illegal. In fact, I think this is the criminalization of the poor and the black working class in this country, that any attempt that we make in order for us to be able to live or to survive or to breathe is criminalized and called illegally by those that can, in fact, that have money or that are rich in this country.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us here on eNCA, Mr. Hukwe. This is a topic that has been boiling, and I think, a lot of people are worried about what will happen next. What will government do? Thami Hukwe, he's the coordinator of the Gauteng Housing Crisis Committee.